Jesus today, by washing the feet of his apostles, gives us the example of the servant master. And this isn't such an unknown feature. If we look back in the Bible, the kings of Israel were often considered a shepherd to their people, or also the father of their people. And so they were expected as well to have that sense of being the father of all their people, or being the shepherd of their flock and leading them and providing for them and caring for them. So certainly the ideal was present and the ideal was there, but the reality didn't often match up. And when we think about it, we can see what happens. Just think about kings or rulers. Just think about the politics that involve what often a king will come from a certain clan or a certain family, and he'll come out of that milieu, and he'll be expected to help them out, to favor them a bit. And if he favors them, then the other groups in that society feel like they're disfavored, and they feel like they're not getting their share. And then there's tough decisions that come out where he is called to be expected to be a just and fair ruler, and yet he has maybe his hands tied, or he has commitments, or maybe there's even blackmail. Maybe he hasn't lived such always a good life, and there are things that they can hold against him, or maybe they pressure him with this or that. They say, if you do this, we'll do that, and so it can become very messy. And so whether from human weakness or of the king who isn't able to rise above the favoritism, or also maybe societal weakness in the sense of people who are putting unfair pressure on the king and not respecting the other interests of the other people, that can all make things for a reality that is not so chummy, you might say, a reality that isn't so ideal, and the idea of the benevolent king who is the father of the people, or the shepherd of the flock. And so, but Jesus says yes. He says the ideal is yes, that the master should be the servant, and he should be there to serve. And yes, what I know I watch a few movies, and I watched a movie, Spider-Man, recently, and it says, Spider-Man's told that with great power comes great responsibility. And that's so true. That's one of the most fundamental truths, is with great power comes great responsibility. With great gifts, they have to be used, but also with great gifts comes great hurts. And that's brought out in this movie and brought out in life. So yes, with great gifts come often great hurts. And so with great responsibility, there is power involves being very responsible. And so people are called to rise above the fray and rise above and be just and fair in their decisions and in their orientations, but also to be generous with their gifts and to be generous with that gift. And I think we have the ideal in Jesus. Jesus didn't feel like he was attached to one clan or one family. He didn't feel like he had his hands tied. He didn't care he did what was right. And that's even mentioned, one of the scribes comes up and says, we know that you are just and right, and you don't play into the politics of the people. You're not swayed by what people think. You say what is truly right. And that is true about Jesus. Yes, he's true and righteous, and he doesn't just play into politics or being drawn into that group or the other, or playing favoritism. But also, again, yes, with those great gifts comes great hurt, but we see, yes, Jesus had that great gift, that great love. He wanted to ardently eat this Passover with them. He desired that. That love could not be contained in him. It was something that was boiling over, you might say. It was burning. That heart was burning, and he ardently wanted to spread that love out, because he couldn't keep it bottled up. I mean, we don't think about Jesus or God being that way, do we? But I think we should maybe sometimes think of a fire that just has to go out and burn and can't stop burning. And just think about that, and that's that desire of the love of God that just wants to invade us and invade our world. But he respects our responsibility. He respects our free will. He expects our capacity to choose, so he respects that. But on the part of God, on the part of Jesus, there is that desiring, that burning inferno of love that just wants to pour itself out on us and on everyone.